Hi there, this is Justin Krane, certified financial planner professional and founder of Krane Financial Solutions. Welcome to Money You Got This. So how can you really live? How? By uniting your business money, your personal money with your life and your business. Word up.
Krane Financial is an SEC-registered investment advisor. However, such registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and no inference to the contrary should be made. A copy of our current written disclosure statement discussing our advisory services and fees is available upon request. Information contained herein is for informational and illustrative purposes only, and general in nature. It should not be considered specific financial planning or investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any type of securities or other investment products.
Hey everyone, welcome to Money You Got This. This show is brought to you by Krane Financial Solutions. I'm Justin Krane. I'm a certified financial planner professional. I offer investment management services and do financial planning. I'm also the author of the book, Money You Got This. I'm psyched you're listening to the show. I want to give you this free report, 3 things multimillionaires do to grow their wealth. Just go to coolmoneyshow.com to grab it. That's coolmoneyshow.com to grab it. Thanks. Today, we have a very, very interesting guest on because I don't know much about Broadway, but our guest, Margaret Skoglund, knows a lot about it. Margaret, welcome to the show.
Hello. Let's talk Broadway.
Let's do it. So I've seen The Lion King, and I think I've seen like Cats, and I know maybe like 3 other plays, but you have been able to pivot major with COVID and with everything going on. So talk to us a little bit about what you do. Tell me about what's virtual Broadway. Give us, I don't want to read your bio. I want you to tell me the shows that you've worked on and how cool you are.
Sure. Well, most importantly, I was a basketball player. So I was born and raised in Minnesota and played a lot of basketball. And then I thought around college, gee, wouldn't it be cool to get into live entertainment? And so then we hopped on over to New York City and started managing a lot of different Broadway shows. So in the world of Broadway, basically every show is its own small business. Mm-hmm. So I was an ops person, if you will. I was an ops person for Mamma Mia, shows like Sideshow, Once on This Island. I toured The Lion King, which you've seen. Yep. I toured The Lion King through about 53 different cities, along with a show called Newsies. And as your audience might be aware, Broadway is currently shut down thanks to COVID.
Yes.
So I'd love to know. So Justin, where are you currently based right now?
I'm based in Los Angeles.
Perfect. That's what I thought. So when we tour through the Pantages in Los Angeles, that's one of the most thrilling venues you can go to. And with coronavirus, everything is shut down in terms of my world. So back in April, I launched a company called Virtual Broadway, and we are connecting Broadway actors, Broadway musicians, Broadway directors to corporate America. And we are actually putting on custom corporate engagement experiences. Wow. And I hope you ask me what that means.
I'm going to, but all I'm thinking is like, my wife works at Disney and like, they need this stuff. And like, they do some of this, but like, you know, they need this, and I think they're doing it, and I can see how you've kind of figured this out. So let's go back to the basics. COVID shuts down Broadway, and you're a manager and you're managing these shows, and then you just like all of a sudden you're like, wow, I know all these people, they're not doing anything. I know all these other people, they're not doing anything. Why don't I just merge them together and create a service to help both parties? I mean, is that pretty much it?
You pretty much encapsulated my thought process. Yes. First of all, I want to know what division your wife is working at, because we would have been colleagues at one point. But you're absolutely correct. I have an entire Rolodex of stars, chorus dancers, designers, directors. That's all I've been doing the last dozen years. Yeah. And I happen to go to Duke University. I happen to have a mother who's one of the most incredible saleswomen in corporate America. So I have all of these contacts who are at big businesses. And where we've really found a sweet spot is large privately held companies, a handful of Fortune 500 companies, and we are helping them engage clients and engage employees.
Wow, that is so cool. So I want to get into the mindset of this because the show is about money, life, and business. So let's talk business. You start this out, and how, did you have to like call like 10 people you know and be like, hey, if I like brought you in to go to like GE and talk to like 14 people with blue suits, white shirts, and red ties, could you do a number for them? And I'll pay you $5,000, and then maybe GE will pay me 20, and let's see how it goes. Like, did you just like run with it like that?
If I can be honest on this particular podcast, um, my friends were all out of work. My
Mm-hmm,
friends had their entire income stream ripped from them on March 12th, 2020 at
mm-hmm,
4 p.m. That is when Broadway shut down.
mm-hmm,
So this business, my small business, has been, to say labor of love would be an understatement,
mm-hmm.
because my entire world is this community.
Yeah.
So I love your point. Yes, I did call up the star of Tina, the Tina Turner musical, or the star of Hamilton. I won't name names on this podcast, but I would call up these people and say, are you comfortable doing something in this space? I'm
Yeah.
not giving you a Broadway show. We're not telling a 2 hour long story, but we are connecting with audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been fantastic. And some performers have absolutely fallen in love with it. Some performers say, not for me. And
Yeah.
either way, it's completely fine. And I respect their decision.
So what kind of person did you become this last year? I would say this year, but it's really last year. Like, who did you grow into in doing this? I mean, you played hoops. You got a mom that's selling in corporate America. You've got your hair in a bun right now. What kind of person did you grow into?
I hope that I grew into a leader.
That's so,
So I think that's my word.
yeah.
I think I've learned how few businesses are female owned.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've learned how used to working under people my colleagues are. I would bring in a music supervisor, I would bring in a director, I would bring in a writer, and they would be shocked when I would give them space and a collaborative atmosphere to actually work on our projects. We're probably averaging, 3, 5, 10 projects a month, depending on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the downsides of entertainment is we're very hierarchical in terms of the person on the top is the one dictating those orders down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So I've tried to resist that.
Mm-hmm. So kind of have so many follow-up questions to that, but let's talk about the fact that you gave these people space to create their own thing. And, you know, maybe it's you let men and women just run with what it is that they wanted to do and to create something that they wanted to without having to deal with 3 chains of management. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So on Broadway and in a lot of various businesses, right? You have the red tape, you have your
Yeah.
checks and balances system. And one of the thrills of running your own business, one of the benefits of working on a smaller project is autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really, really valued representation. Let's hold ourselves accountable. Where's our money actually going? Are we actually thinking about different races, different abilities, different genders, different ages?
Mm-hmm.
And we've also really, really prided ourselves on, like I said, making it a collaborative, open workspace, virtual workspace.
Yeah.
But that is a rarity I have found in
Yeah.
my world.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that you're running with that. I want to ask you about your business model. Like, what do you actually do to make money, and how do you make money? I would believe that the businesses are paying you, and then you're paying the actors and the talent. Is that right?
Exactly. So we like to say we are turnkey. So we go to the client, we say, here's our fee, and then I get to take that fee and then pay all of those artists who are currently out of work.
Mhm.
And we pay directors and editors and sound mixers and obviously on-screen talent.
Mhm.
And right now, and maybe I shouldn't be this honest, but right
Well,
now
you
it's been,
told me you were being honest like 5 minutes ago, so I'm going to run with the fact that I think
listen,
you still are.
trying. So right now we're very project based, right? We do not have that recurring revenue, that Walt Disney, recurring revenue, and the leveraging the licensing and all of that good stuff. So right now we are very project based. And just sort of chatting, I look at the Cameos of the world, cameo.com, which was actually also started by a Duke alum, if you know that company. And scale is something that seems exciting to me, but for this particular business, I don't even know if scale is actually our goal. I think our goal is really to be high end, to
Mhm.
be incredibly custom, and a white glove experience for the client.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually going to get into the recurring revenue because I love that concept. That's just, I mean, it's a great thing. So how are you dealing with the fact that you're project based and you're having to do a lot of work to get paid one time?
It's a good thing I like to work.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing a B school first year would come in and say, oh, you got to fix that. You got to change that around.
Hmm.
Right now, we're figuring out what's really working well, what we can move away from, what's actually delighting the customer, not to bring in buzzwords, but
Yeah.
you can tell pretty fast what makes the employee happy, what makes the client happy, what is actually not draining on our supply chain. Our supply chain is the talent.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have an actor film something for 30 hours that's only moderately impactful.
Yeah. Are you sending like physical stuff out too with some of these presentations where like each employee gets something while they're watching something so they can participate?
Great question. We help advise on that. I have not yet become a fulfillment
Mhm.
center in my apartment, but yes, we will advise on people sending a physical item.
Got it. So, do you have employees or is it just you?
I have a co-founder. His name's Kevin Ramasar, and he is a Broadway conductor and musician. So we have the right brain, left brain happening over at
Yeah.
Virtual Broadway.
Yeah.
And then we have a whole team of people. I'm always careful when I use the word employees because, as we know, that has
Yeah.
implications, but we certainly have a team of people.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, cool. And then I'm sure you get this question all the time. Like, what are you going to do when like COVID's over and like everyone's back at work? How are you going to just continue to roll with it? I think you could still do it all. To me, it's completely doable. You can do both. But what's your response on that one?
The great thing about Broadway is that nobody signs a non-compete. So there's nothing stopping an actor from filming Law and Order in the afternoon and then showing up at Hamilton that evening.
Yeah.
So happily, I really think that Virtual Broadway has a good shot at continuing this type of work, even post
Yeah.
opening of Broadway.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's talk about your mom for a minute. Let's talk sales. Let's talk about mom. Why is mom cool and why do I need to know her?
Mom's the best. So my mother has been in sales since age 20 something. And what I've learned from her are probably a couple key things, which is you're never asking, you're providing a solution.
Hmm.
You're never bothering someone, you're connecting with them.
Hmm. Sure.
And it's been so fun to see her in different industries and to see how she engages on the telephone, how she engages over email. And it's simple, but it works. And it's authenticity, authenticity, authenticity. And so I've been very, very lucky where not only do I understand a lot of various commission structures and various sales techniques that you might be able to read in a
Yeah.
book, but I also have a role model who has shown me that as long as you're bringing your whole self and your genuine self to that pitch meeting,
Mm.
to that business meeting,
Yeah,
you're going to do fine.
that's great. I love it. That's super cool. I heard on a podcast that you paid off all of your student loans in like 4 seconds or something like that. What's the deal with that? How did you do it? And, we haven't hit money yet, so let's go there.
Oh my gosh, I love talking money. And this is such a treat for me because usually I'm the one following, GameStop and no one else knows what I'm talking about. So this is great. So student loans, I have a lot of opinions on them. I have a lot of thoughts, but I happen to be in a position where I was making about 30,000, and I'll talk numbers on this call, making about 30,000 bucks a year. Welcome to entertainment. Welcome to New
Yeah.
York City. So
Yeah.
I was making $30,000 a year with moderate student debt. I was not in the 6 figures, but I was north of 50 grand. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I very, very quickly sussed out where in my industry I could get the most cash quickly. And in my industry, that happened to be touring. And I completely threw myself into the world of touring, which meant that you get per diem money. That meant that you all of a sudden were not paying New York City prices. Maybe you were paying Oklahoma City prices. Maybe you were paying Tulsa prices because you're going city to city.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a combination of refinancing my debt, becoming crystal clear what my terms were, crystal clear what my interest rates were. I had a promissory note that with a private lender that I helped set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I got this influx in cash from this job that I identified, which was touring, I was able to just chip away, chip away, chip away.
Why do you think that, well, actually, I'll give you my opinion and then I'm curious if you agree or not. I'm in money and I'm a CFP and I manage over 100 million bucks and, been doing this for 25 years. And I've always realized that before clients come to me, they don't have clarity and they're looking for clarity. And once they have clarity, they can make decisions way easier and feel good about it. The thing is, sometimes they don't know how to get it. Your answer to my question about student loans was about clarity, that you were clear on what the terms were, what you had to do, clear on how you could make the most money and then pay it back, pay it down. What do you think about clarity with regards to money? And do you think a lot of people have it and they don't know it, or they don't know how to get it?
I am incredibly passionate about financial literacy. So
Mm-hmm.
you are speaking to something that is very close to my heart. I think clarity is absolutely vital. I happen to be someone who thinks if you don't know what an index fund is, if you don't know what a stock is, if you don't know what a put option is, that's okay. But go learn what that is first and then go on Robinhood and then go try to beat the market. And I think that the word clarity is so perfect because let's be clear. Are you someone who wants to save for retirement and know how your Roth IRA works versus your 401k, or if you need to set up a backdoor IRA? Let's be really clear. And it's not you needing to be an expert on all of, please stop me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's the individual needing to be an expert. They should be working with someone like you. But let's be clear about what the goals are and what the actual vehicles are. Feel free to, I'm curious, feel free to disagree.
No, I agree. I think that people get so overwhelmed that they don't even want to deal and shut down. And it's like once you get people going and talking about it in the right setting, in the right environment, it's very disarming. And they're like, yeah, I want this. So I think I want to do this. I actually just spoke with a client an hour ago. We were talking about paying down a home equity line versus like making investments or dealing with other family members, and their decision on what they wanted to do was made by them, but facilitated by me. So I think once people are given the right info, hence clarity, it can make them feel empowered to own where they are and where they want to go. So, I mean, I think that's really big. I wanted to ask you a question about finances. And it had to do with
If I'm short GameStop.
no, I can't get into like, let me tell you. So I'm a fee only RIA. I'm registered with the SEC. I'm a fiduciary. The amount of compliance that I deal with is insane. Talking about these stocks, I'd love to, but like I don't. No, it's okay. I don't do it on the show because then I have to have all these disclaimers. But what did I want to ask you? I think it had something to do with. Oh, I know what it was. 9/11. So were you in New York for 9/11?
I was not. I was back in Minnesota.
You
So
were,
I do not,
okay.
yeah, I do not remember or know New York when 9/11 happened.
Okay, so do you have friends that were here for 9/11? I mean, in New York for 9/11?
Yes, very much so. My partner is a born and raised New Yorker, so
Yeah,
and many college friends, as you can imagine.
yeah. And where are you now in New York?
Yes, so I am speaking to you from Manhattan, from the Upper West Side, and
Got
New
it.
York is very much home.
Yeah. So I worked at the World Trade Center before 9/11. Before. Like I think it was in like 94. I think it was in 94 for a summer. But I took 3 elevators up. I was on like the 83rd floor. And for me, I was in LA at the time and I watched it all happen. And like my story is nothing compared to people who were there. But I think for me, 9/11 brought up personally for me that that it's about that life is fragile,
Hmm.
that anything can happen to anyone, and that you really have to take control of your life now. And that if you make financial decisions that give you more control of what you want now, not just when you're 82, so you can have $40 billion. I think the world needs more of financial planning for now, financial planning and investing for 6 months from now. And for me, the pivot was 9/11. And I think it was a wake-up call to a lot of people to realize that life is here.
Mm.
And I don't think that Wall Street, they're starting to pick up more on that. But it's not just about, I mean, it's not just about the long term. Yes, long term is important, but it's also about what you want in 2 years and all of that. So I was just curious if 9/11 affected you, if you were in New York or what, but I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah, it affected me mainly in a way where, I mean, how honest do you want, again, honesty, it put some real fear in me. It put some real fear in me. And, with managing and operating theaters as part of my livelihood, mass gatherings of any kind are seen through a different lens these days. Hopping on an airplane with my entire company of Lion King or my entire company of Newsies, we think about it differently. But anyway, I really like your point where let's actually plan for 6 months and 2 years and 50 years from now.
Sure, of course. Yeah. It's been great to have you on. I want to just end with one question and then we'll ask where people can get more info for you. I think a lot of people are going to be inspired by what you're doing. And I certainly am. I think it's super cool. I love it. I think it's just, I want to say that I'm proud of you and what you're doing, even though I've only met you now, but I think it's cool. But I want people to be inspired and I want them to walk away feeling like that they can do anything. So what kind of advice do you have for business owners that are needing to reinvent themselves right now?
My advice for business owners needing to reinvent themselves is to utilize your network. And it is all about network and all about cross pollination.
Yeah.
It was so helpful for me to have friends who were in real estate, friends who were actors, friends who were sales team members at Fortune 500 companies, friends who had failed launching startups. I leaned on all of these various friends and colleagues in my circle to help get by my business, which is Virtual Broadway, to help get it on the right track. I was so happy that I was not just relying on one echo chamber as I built Virtual Broadway. Because I have so many friends who are doctors and so many friends who are actually reading CDC reports, that's why I knew I needed to start this. And I wasn't sitting around hoping Broadway would come back in 4-6 weeks.
So what's your advice?
Network, know your network and have various people in that network, not all just one industry.
And then the second part of that is, I actually have my opinion on this, but I want to hear yours, is how do you actually build a good network?
I guess you get to be genuine, you get to be authentic, and you get to follow up. So don't you dare think of it as a chore. You get to follow up, you get to stay in touch. And I think that there are people who just love the one-on-one coffees, they love the one-on-one dinners. I happen to be one of those people. So it's been pretty easy for me. But I definitely do realize that not everyone is wired like that. That can be intimidating to many people.
Cool. All right. So where can people go to get more info on Virtual Broadway? What's your URL?
So Virtual Broadway can be found online at virtualbway.com. That's virtualbway.com. And if you or anyone in your circle is looking to increase engagement at your business or at your organization, give us a call. And we love to customize and to make your event special.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a question? Want to get in touch with us? Need some help and advice with your finances? Just go to coolmoneyshow.com and reach out to us. That's coolmoneyshow.com.
Krane Financial Solutions is an SEC-registered investment advisor. However, such registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training, and no inference to the contrary should be made. A copy of our current written disclosure statement discussing our advisory services and fees is available upon request. Information contained herein is for informational and illustrative purposes only and general in nature. It should not be considered specific financial planning or investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any type of securities or other investment products. No investment decision should be made based solely on any information provided herein. We do not provide legal, accounting, or tax services. We recommend that all investors seek out the services of competent professionals in any of the aforementioned areas. Certain information provided has been obtained from third-party sources that we believe reliable. However, it's not been independently verified and is not guaranteed.